gorgeous? Does that funk have you feeling stuck? Have you questioning your purpose, or even yet having you asking if your best years are behind you? Girl, you have zero obligation to stay in that funk. This podcast is for women who want to get the funk out of here, who want to play bigger, ask for more, and step out of mediocrity. Imagine a life filled with lots of energy, excitement, and filled with spunk instead of that funk. This is the After 40 Unfunk Your Mind podcast. I'm your host, Crystal. Let's go! Hi, ladies. Welcome back. Now, I'm going to butcher this name, but Thucydides said, the secret to happiness is freedom, and the secret to freedom is courage. In my 20-plus years of leading mostly women, this single component was the most lacking among them. It was courage. Despite their competence, their ability, their skills, whatever the requirement was, they almost always fit the bill. It was just courage that was missing. Courage to show up and advocate for themselves, whether it was for a raise, a promotion, to share one of their ideas, or to voice their dreams. In many of these women, all that was required was a little courage. Courage to ask and go after what they wanted. Lose their fear. Courage to stomp on their circumstances with their feet and rise above them. Courage is just your ability to confront and overcome fear, danger, or a challenge. I remember when I was asked in my early 20s to step into an executive level role for a multi-million-dollar company, all the questions came up. I remember some of them being, why did they want me? Am I qualified? Can I do this? What if I fail because I don't know how to do this specific thing on the job posting? All the thoughts came up, right? And despite the fear, I accepted the position. And now fast forward to my first owners meeting. This is where the exec team would meet with the ownership group to review each of their respective areas. And my area was finance and accounting. Anyway, I was nervous and scared. I remember taking a deep breath before entering that boardroom for that first meeting. And right before I entered, I said, I got this. This small affirmation always helps me bring my courage to the surface. And I use it with a lot of my friends too. When they fear something, I always say, hey, you got this. It's just something that reminds me in every circumstance that I do belong at the table, whether it's that boardroom table or another table. We belong there. I belong there. You belong there. And here's the thing. I did enter the room and I was less than stellar, but I had the courage to show up and deliver my portion. And after a few of these monthly meetings, it no longer required courage. And this is called exposure therapy, when you're gradually exposed to something and it builds up your courage over time. I used to see this on the ski slopes too. Adults and kids would come for their first ski lesson. The first day they were scared and had very little courage. And at the beginning of their vacations, they would go a little ways and then fall down. And this process would actually repeat itself many times. And after many attempts and doing pizza, where they keep their skis in the formation of a pizza to keep them from going fast, after many attempts and being exposed to the bunny hill for multiple times, they eventually built up their courage, and they eventually graduated to the green and the blue slopes. And sometimes playfully, I've used that saying, fake it until you make it. But I no longer like that saying because it implies that you don't have the competence or you're lacking in some way. So girl, from now on, it's I got this. And truth is, you are so skilled. You have qualified life experiences and you are just as worthy as the other person. I've learned that if you don't have the courage to step up and claim it, claim your idea, claim your new business or product idea, claim your promotion, then someone else will. And don't self-sabotage here. We talked about this last week. I see so many women not enter the room because they couldn't get the courage to walk through the door. Not calling on your courage is a form of self-sabotage. It will keep you from your dreams, from blowing your own damn mind, from opening that business, from you name it. It will keep you from taking action. And we all know by now to get different results requires different actions. And this takes courage. And one thing I want to point out, though, is that a confident person can still lack courage. However, courage is required to move us forward and closer to a better version of ourselves. When we lack courage, or we just flat out underestimate its power, we stay all funked up. We stay stuck. And you have to have courage to step out of your daily routine and inject something new in there. You have to have courage to show up and try something you've never done before, or else you're left sitting in the same place. It goes back to that saying that defines insanity, as you're doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Courage doesn't always feel good. It can actually feel uncomfortable. When I feel courage, it's like a bubbling sensation that's starting in my stomach. And courage involves acknowledging and confronting fear, but it doesn't mean the absence of fear. I liken certain situations to an actress that's going in for an audition for an upcoming role. Now, one of two things happens. She either gets the role or a role, or she doesn't. In other words, she either gets rejected or she gets accepted. So if you get the role, awesome. That's when courage turns to excitement. For me, I usually sense excitement in my chest. It feels like my heart is huge and it's beating beyond my chest cavity. That's when I feel like I need to tell someone to calm that feeling down. And that feels amazing. And now we know there's contrast. So on the flip side, there's rejection. When you show up and the universe tells you no, that's just feedback, right? It's just an audition in which you were not the right fit for the role. This is known as cognitive restructuring, or in simple terms, looking at things in a different way or with a different point of view. I recall one time when I went for an interview for this well-known company. I truly felt like it would be a great addition, or I would be a great addition to their team, because I lived their mission in my regular daily life. I really wanted to be their CFO. So I interviewed, and while I was in the running, I didn't get it. Of course I was bummed, but it was just an audition for a role, right? I was not the right fit. It was just the feedback from the universe telling me to go a different route. And in hindsight, I'm grateful to have been rejected. But don't lose courage. Keep showing up for the auditions. Keep showing up for your dreams, your new hobbies, meeting new people, the different roles, because you might find that there is a new path that life wants you to take or wants to take you on. It is through courage and taking action that opens doors to opportunities. Showing up and taking courageous action can help us see the world with new lenses and thus give us new perspective, or, as I like to call it, unfunking our mind. Courage can also come from watching other people do something. I don't know about you, but I always seem to gain courage or find my courage to speed in my car when someone else goes flying past me. I know it's terrible, but I basically convince myself that they will get the ticket before I do. Good grief. I feel shame for even admitting that. But let's use this technique for an instance of good. Let's say that you want to start a fitness business. Perhaps finding someone else who did it will bring out your courage to do the same. I see this all the time in some of the groups I'm in. This is typically what we see kids use most of the time to garner their courage, right? When Beth acts out in class, then it gives Crystal the courage to do the same. And this works in reverse. It works not just for you, but for others. When you get the courage to step into your dreams or just a better version of you, you can give someone else the courage to step into theirs. How amazing! By you stepping into your courage, other women will step into theirs. Can you imagine what would transpire? Oh, it would be amazing. Contributing to society and the world just by stepping into your own courage? What are you waiting on? What are we waiting on? Courage can also come from honing your skills, ladies. Were you scared about caring for your firstborn? Look at you now. Right before I got married, I remember being intimidated with cooking meals 7 times a week, 2 times a day. Not gonna lie, I still get slightly intimidated by this. But after years of honing this skill, I am no longer as intimidated. I also have the courage to try new recipes and new ingredients. And quite frankly, if I mess it up or it gets disastrous, there's always ramen in the refrigerator or cereal. Let's be honest. Lastly, courage can also show up when we have someone supporting us. We just got a new mat for our trampoline, and it is not as bouncy as the last one, according to my girls. It's funny because everyone has been on this thing trying to attempt it to make it as bouncy as the old one. My neighbor has been on there. My husband has jumped on it. I have jumped on it. My husband's friends, their cousin, and even the girl's Grammy, my mom, has jumped on it. And it is still not as bouncy, according to my girls. We have real problems here at my house, ladies. You can see this, right? So now with this major problem, and I hope, ladies, you know I'm being sarcastic, the girls haven't been throwing any of their backflips because they can't seem to get enough air to where they feel comfortable flipping themselves around. Finally, my little one asked her big sister if she could come spot her because she wanted to try to do it. And lo and behold, she did it, you guys. Backflip on the new mat. And now she can do it without the support of her big sister. She just needed that little bit of support. And just like my little girl, or like Shaggy on Scooby-Doo, do you remember Scooby-Doo and how Shaggy always needed him in the order to gain his courage to go forward in his mission? Just like Shaggy, we need our Scooby-Doos. We need a little bit of support too to help us get courage. Think about these people who found their courage and where we would be today had they not found their courage. Rosa Parks, Nelson Mandela, Amelia Earhart, Muhammad Ali, Elon Musk. I'm sure you have tons of examples too. You owe it to yourself to step into your courage. Use any of the methods mentioned here, gradual exposure, use the affirmation, I got this, or whatever phrase musters up your courage. Think about it a different way. Witness someone else doing it, honing the skill, or just getting the support of someone else. All these ways can build up your courage. And now I'm going to muster up my courage to make new friends between now and the end of the year. We have moved to a new place, and I need some new girlfriends. It's my #1 mission for the rest of the year. I tell myself that I am an introvert, and it's hard for me. But I'm ready to drop that narrative. I'm ready to create a new narrative and tell myself it's easy to make friends. I got this, lady. I am going to introduce myself and draw upon my courage to not just give a friendly wave hoping they come up to me, but to take action and walk up to them and have a genuine conversation. It's an audition, right? If I get rejected, then it just wasn't the right role, the right friend for me. If I get accepted, woohoo, I got a new friend. I will keep you posted on how it's going. So what area of your life is calling you to step into your courage? I know firsthand that it takes courage to step out of that daily grind, that routine you can't seem to shake because kids need to get to practices, clothes need to get washed, dinner needs to get on the table. It takes courage to want to change, to take new action. It takes courage to tell yourself that in addition to those things, you want more. And you want the good news? We all have courage inside of us. Think of it. Other women need you to use your courage to step into a better version of you so that they will have the courage to step into a better version of them. Can you imagine a place where we're all inspired each other to step into better versions of ourselves and all it took was courage? Take some action this week by calling on your courage and hanging up on fear, hanging up on lazy, hanging up on your excuses.
Oh, I'm so pumped. I can feel the energy, and hopefully you can too. So, ladies, it's time. Let's go. And now for that legal jumbo mumbo. This show is meant for educational and motivational purposes only. It is not intended to replace any type of professional services or medical help. Again, it's meant for educational and motivational purposes only. Before you go, Superwoman, I'd love it if you took a little action for me. Like, subscribe to my podcast and leave a review. Also, share the episode with a friend. And as a thank you, hit up my website to crystalsumner.com, thecrystalsumner.com, to grab free journal prompts. Okay, ladies, now is the time to go unfunk your mind, play bigger, and ask for more. Open the door to possibility and cancel playing small. So get up and go.